Crystal, what is up, my dog? Okay, I don't know if he's there right now. But welcome everyone to this very impromptu stream. I definitely was not. I mean, I was definitely meaning to do one at some point, but not like this. Not under these circumstances. Certainly not under these circumstances. Oh, Carlo. This was your opportunity, man. This was the chance you needed to finally scratch the one itch you had never done, which was getting that back-to-back title. And you fumbled it. You fumbled it against the worst Valencia team in like 20 years. Wow. You got guys like Mbappe, Rudiger. Come on. Who's this? Yo, what is up, bro?
Hey, hello.
I can tell just looking at your name, you're excited right now,
Uh,
aren't you?
yeah, I didn't expect Madrid to drop points in this match specifically.
I mean, like if you look at Madrid, they've been having this coming. They've been, especially for the last month, their defense is just. I mean, obviously, due partly to like the injuries as well, but eventually you got to be able to come up with a game plan to stop people. Like this entire season, their inability to properly set up defensively has been an issue. I mean, you guys took it. Oh, 2 minutes. I bet. But I'll just keep going as while you're mute. Like Barcelona is taking advantage of this. Teams in the group stages of the Champions League have taken advantage of this. Like you can't really, you're not gonna get it. You can't just keep getting away with poor defensive setups, right? Like literally a couple of minutes before Valencia scored, they ran the exact same sequence. They ran the ball down the right side. They dragged out two of the players. They left Rudiger on an island, cut back in the box. They were lucky that the first time they did it, Valencia like got a handball, so it didn't amount to anything. But then they do it again. You lose to the same tactic again within a couple minutes. That's on the coach. That's on the coach. Like what I need to do is I wish I had found like still shots to really emphasize what I'm talking about. I mean, you look statistically, obviously 3.7 xG is insane. 4 big chances. Clearly they effed up. That attack today, like there's just so many talking points. Vinicius, I don't know why he keeps taking these penalties. Right, you missed it against Atletico. You have a penalty taken in Mbappe that knows how to score penalties in high pressure situations. So it doesn't make any sense to me that they persist with, what they got going on here. And then you look at the likes of that midfield, bro. 40 years old, bro. This dude's going to be 40 in when's his birthday? He's going to be 40 in a couple months. Why are you starting a freaking grandfather in important league matches at the end of the season? Like it doesn't really make any sense. No, man, this is amazing. This is amazing.
Which I was just asking which game do you have next in other competition?
Oh,
I mean, what is your next game now?
which game does Madrid have next?
Yeah,
So they have to play Arsenal in the Champions League, and then in terms of La Liga, they have
yeah,
Deportivo next.
yeah. I think that's the reason. I think Ancelotti started Modric and I think Jude was Jude injured or he was just rested.
No, he played. He played today. He wasn't particularly good either. I think their main issue today was just the fact that that midfield was just getting overran, and they just didn't have, and they just weren't finishing their chances either. Like Vinny missed the
I
penalty.
didn't. I was watching the match at the start. I think start of the game when
Mhm.
Valencia scored. Then when Vinny equalized, then I started stopped watching, and then again I started watching when I think Hugo Duro scored the winner.
Yeah, I mean, like in between that, it was just a lot of um like Madrid did create some chances, so I'm not gonna pretend like they didn't, but they couldn't put them away. And despite the fact that Valencia didn't really create that many chances in the second half, especially towards like
Yeah,
those last 10 minutes, um, Madrid were going all out trying to get that winning goal, and they left themselves vulnerable defensively, and Valencia were able to take advantage of that. Because that
it's
Hugo,
just that
because the dual goal that they
yeah,
scored.
I just thought that Madrid had the capability, capability to drop points in multiple games this season, and they end up dropping points in this game. It's like I think it's like first win for I think Valencia from away from home now. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, this is the first time they've won here for almost 20 years.
Man,
So yeah,
that's
no, it's
crazy.
definitely been a long time coming. And if you're Madrid, this is coming at the worst possible time. So I'm assuming you're a Barcelona fan. So where do you think this leaves Barcelona right now in the title race?
Yeah. Also look at the irony. Whenever Real Madrid plays, bad or below average game, they end up winning, and today they I think played a decent enough game, and they end up losing the match.
Well, I mean that's just gonna come, right? You're always gonna have those games where you don't execute properly.
Yeah.
Well, it's more so,
So from the I think yeah, I think from the Barca point of view, I think what is I think the problem with Barcelona is even when they had a lead, 7 point leads, before Christmas, the thing I was surprised after we dropped the point and we gave away the lead to Real Madrid was that when we had the lead, we were pretty casual, in the game state that in the games that we were playing. So
I
I'm
still
just
think
afraid that the confidence that I have right now is that I think maybe we have, and specifically the players have learned from that mistake, and I think they will not give a chance. I really hope so that they don't give a chance to Real Madrid to come back again, because they have a lead now, and if they win against Real Betis, I think they have a 6 point lead again, just like they had a 7 point lead in December. So, but we have to win against Real Betis. So I really think we might drop points against Real Betis now.
Well, I mean, you have to keep in mind too, even when you guys were playing poorly and you guys gave away that lead, you guys were still playing well in the matches. You guys were still creating opportunities. Madrid
Yeah,
have Madrid have just kind of been
I think
sleepwalking. They've been
yeah,
sleepwalking
I
this entire
think
season. So
yeah,
this
I think
so
maybe I think two games that we played were bad. I think maybe Leganes and Real Sociedad. Apart from that, mostly we played great games.
well, because even the Sociedad game, right? It's not the game where you guys were up two with like a couple minutes left.
Yeah, uh, I think it was 1-0 or 2-1, something like that.
Yeah, and when because you look at Madrid, even there's been plenty of games, like you said earlier, there's been plenty of games this season where they don't even play convincingly to a point where you think they deserve to win. And right, like I think the thing that worries me the most is Valencia didn't really do much, but you could tell as the game were going on, they were able to start creating more chances. And if you're Madrid, and you're looking at the fact that they still have what 8 games left in the season, they still need to make that Champions League run. You can't be tossing games at the end of the 90 minutes. You have to be able to manage the games better. And I do think part of that is
Yeah.
just because, like I said, that midfield today, disgraceful. Vinicius today, disgraceful. Despite the fact that I think he obviously he scored today, but missing the penalty, I just think he generally didn't play well. And despite and Mbappe, I do think he.
Also,
Oh, sorry, continue. What are you gonna
also,
say?
yeah, I was just saying that I know, every Real Madrid fan, most of the Real Madrid fans will blame Ancelotti. I think, of course, he deserves large amount of the blame, but the cards he has been dealt, the injuries, all the injuries, and they literally didn't have a center back with a great experience in Europe this season. They need center backs. Also, Lucas Vasquez, it's not good enough, as a defender. So I don't know. I think most of the Real Madrid fans will blame Ancelotti, because they have signed Mbappe, and last season they won UCL and La Liga, and they were expecting to win most of the trophies this season too. But we can't really blame Ancelotti. Entire blame doesn't go to Ancelotti, because if you look at it, Bellingham is scoring here and there and assisting, but he is not as same as last season. Vinicius, especially this season, he has not been good as last season. This used to happen with I remember when Cristiano was there. All the goals and most of the goals were created for Cristiano, and he was scoring in and out most of the time. But other players around him, like Gareth Bale or Benzema or players like that, were their goals were dried up because of that, because entire team was focusing on creating all the chances for Cristiano. I think this is the same thing that is happening now because of that, for Mbappe also. His goals, and he's scoring penalties, he's taking set pieces, sometimes he's scoring his goals because team is entirely focused on him as a number 9. So because of that, the Jude goals are not coming like they were coming last season. Vinicius looks like his priority is to create more goals for Mbappe rather than scoring. And I think
The
Rodrigo
only
is
thing,
like same, like
the only thing I'll
yeah,
push back
Rodrigo
on
is
is
same like
I do
every
think that
season.
Mbappe, I do
Yeah,
think that
yeah, okay,
Mbappe,
go on, go on.
the only thing I was going to push back on, because I do kind of get where you're coming from. So I do think Mbappe has started to get a good understanding with Bellingham and Rodrigo in particular. Like, when Mbappe likes to drift, Bellingham run to the box, occupy those striking areas when Mbappe is not there. Mbappe and Rodrigo, they just have good interplay in general. Even in today's game, most of Mbappe's link up play from coming from that left side was coming from the left back in what was his name, Fran Garcia, or whatever, as opposed to Vinicius. So in situations like that, I have to look at Vinicius and being like, why is your left back doing a better job of passing and creating attacking play with Mbappe than you, the winger, the guy that's supposed to be the world class winger? That's so I have to look at him sideways in that respect. And
Also,
and I don't know if that comes from
Valen,
Carlo, if that comes from the
I
players.
yeah, I think against these teams, the teams like Valencia, Atletico de Madrid, Vinicius has a personal problem with these teams, because of all the racial thing happened between these teams and Vinicius. So he things like this gets to his head, and now he is like 23, 24-year old. I think he should get over this and mature as a person in order to deal with this better, because every time this issue gets to him, and if he doesn't score tonight, everything will be blamed on him, if you think about it, by Real Madrid fans, because after him is that penalty. And it is not first time this is happening this season. The penalty misses, and his behavior on the pitch, all these things really annoys people, not only other fan base but also Real Madrid fan base. So his value will keep decreasing in the eyes of Real Madrid fan base if we keep doing these things, and Mbappe will start take over the team.
Okay, so then let me ask you this, because I know you're saying that, oh, maybe we shouldn't be blaming Carlo as much. Do you think, given how Barcelona have been playing this season, how well you guys have been playing, do you think that Madrid were? Do you think Madrid did well enough to even catch up to you guys in the first place? Like, do you think that Madrid, given all the injuries and stuff, probably shouldn't even have been near you guys to begin with?
Yeah, I only problem I have only problem that I have with that statement is that if we didn't drop points before Christmas, when we had the 7 points lead, if we
Hmm.
didn't drop point at that point, and we were playing like that for entirety of the season, like we are playing right now, then I would have said that you shouldn't blame Carlo Ancelotti. But we did drop points. You know, we had a 7 point leads, and now we have a 6 point lead. So if we had right now, if we had 10 to 14, 10 to 12 points lead at this point, like Real Madrid had last seasons, and Barcelona was in the same condition that Real Madrid is right now last season, because Busquets left the team. Like now, Toni Kroos left you guys, and Barcelona has had multiple injuries, last season, like Real Madrid have this season, because Balde was out for entirety of the season. Frankie De Jong had multiple injuries. Pedri was injured for most of the season. Gavi had a ACL. Because people don't look at the context. Look at Real Madrid this season. Militao is out. They don't even have a center back. Asensio is playing his first season in Europe. Carval, their main leader in the back line, is out. I mean, people just don't look at the context and blame the coach. I still think Carlo Ancelotti is doing a good job, because you are competing on all three levels. Because let's be honest, nobody expects Real Madrid to compete in all three competition. I mean, they expect, of course, but they don't try to win all three competition. They sacrifice Copa del Rey or some other competition, in order to win UCL or something. But they are still in all three, so in the race for all trophies. So I think, of course, I think Ancelotti deserves criticism, but not at the level that people are specifically Real Madrid fans are criticizing him. That's my only problem. Just look at the context.
I mean, okay. The only thing I would say too, right? And also, I'm not a Real Madrid fan, by the way. It's just the way that game ended was so crazy that I felt the need to
So,
speak on it.
which team do you
But
support? I didn't know that you were a Real Madrid fan.
yeah, no, I'm not. It's just that, but I mean, like
So,
the way that game ended,
wh-
it was just too crazy. I was like,
yeah.
no, like there's no way I can.
Which club do you support?
Oh, me, I'm a Chelsea fan.
Yeah, okay, okay. Yeah, because
Yeah,
I
so
saw you on the planner multiple times. I did just notice which club do you support. That's why.
no. I like to talk about every club. So that's how I try to like,
Yeah.
so. But I mean, the only thing I would say too is because I do get your point about the injuries, and I can definitely sympathize with that. But
Yeah, that's why I wasn't blaming Xavi last season too much, because he lost Busquets, with them in the midfield. I just said all the injuries that we had. Of course, we went trophyless at the end of the season. That's too much. You should at least win a cup here and there. That was my only problem with Xavi last season. Also, all the negativity, he was getting red cards in all the games and yellow cards, blaming everything on referees, and he was too much emotionally involved. If you look at Ancelotti, he's always calm, he's managing the squad even after all these injuries, trying to fit in Mbappe, and managing attitude issues from Vinicius, Bellingham specifically. He has a ego issues. He wants to score goals and make those assists. Making Valverde to play right back. It's not easy. Giving Modric so many little minutes. And look at the situation of Arda Güler and that guy Endrick, Bobby Charlton. They are not even getting minutes. It's not easy to manage all this expectation and giving people all minutes during all these injuries. It's not easy, man.
and I like I said, I can sympathize with that, and I do. The only thing I would say too as well is okay, if when you look at this lineup today, right? You see Vasquez at the right back, you see Tchouameni at center back, Modric at midfield. What what do you think is wrong with that? Before I say my piece.
Yeah, I think only thing wrong with this lineup of Real Madrid is that they should have signed the defender. I think they should have gone for Lenny Yoro. Even they had to play like 50 million for a center back, young good center back in this market is decent value. And another problem I see is the fullbacks of Real Madrid. They definitely need fullbacks. I think they will get Trent, and they also need a good left back also, because Mendy is good defensively. I don't trust Garcia, and Lucas Vasquez as a fullbacks, because I think they will try to score the opponents like Barcelona would do, but still you need a good defender in the back line, because Rudiger alone cannot do the job for them.
Oh no, that's fair. The issue I had
Yeah.
when I'm 'cause the issue I had when I'm talking about specifically in this lineup is that there's been
They
so
are building, yeah, they are building this team like a MLS team, and they are just signing attackers and attacking midfielders. They are not even looking at the defense.
no, but what I was gonna say is that even there have been plenty of games this season, right, where you can see that Chouameni, Vasquez, right back, center back pairing doesn't work, right? You think of the game that they had against you guys in the Super Cup, or I think the game against Espanyol, he played with this back line as well. So I guess the question I'm going to ask is, if you know you have a DM that, because I can understand from what's it called, from Chouameni's point of view as the DM, he doesn't have the quickness needed to be a center back, right? So anytime a
Yeah,
defender, anytime sorry, not defender, anytime an attacker gets through him, he doesn't have the agility to recover in time. And then you have
yeah,
Vasquez, who, like you said, is not even a fullback, doesn't have the defensive instincts, doesn't have good positioning, and is in his mid-30s, so he's not particularly quick either. Carlo has run this
yeah.
defensive line multiple times, and it never works. So even with the injuries, Valverde can play as a fullback, right? You have Asensio there. Asensio was on the bench today, so it's not like he wasn't. It's not like he wasn't available. David Alaba is coming back as well, even though I know he didn't play particularly well against Sociedad. So he had options. And then because you don't play your DM where he's supposed to, you're bringing in 40-year-old Modric to play as the midfield. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me. Especially
Also,
because Trumani's been playing good
yeah,
for the last
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That was also my point. They are playing with a double pivot. Of Valverde and Modric. Do you really expect Valverde to cover for entirety of the Madrid midfield? Because Modric is not going to track back and defend. That much in this age, because Valverde, there is only one Valverde in this team. He cannot cover, and for Lucas Vasquez, and then cover for Modric, and then cover the entirety of the midfield, because there is no support for him. Only sometimes Bellingham is there. Other than that, nobody is defending in that midfield.
Exactly. So yeah, I think from that standpoint, Carlos definitely's got to go back to the drawing board. Now I'm going to say overall,
Yeah.
um,
Also, yeah, that's the only thing. Defense is their problem, because if you look at the games the Real Madrid play, every game I feel like they could concede more than three, at least three goals they will concede every game. I think, look at the results. Both the Clásicos they conceded like 4 goals, 5 goals. The game against AC Milan, even the game against Sociedad, the last Copa del Rey semi-final, they are
well,
conceding
that's
three
also
game at
because
least.
just because they play such a high line, right? The same as you guys,
Yeah,
but they don't have
yeah,
the same ability to press that you guys do. So it makes it so if teams are able to get through that first wave defensively, they're looking at a lot of space to run into. That's their biggest issue.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and I do think that Carlo. I don't think Carlo has done enough to mitigate that, right? Like you look at the fact that um, for for as much as defensively they're sound as they are, part of that is just because I mean they're Real Madrid. They're one of the best teams in the league, so teams naturally are not going to test that defense as much as
yeah.
like a Barcelona or any of the top teams, the teams of the top four, anything like that. But even when you look at the underlying numbers, right?
Yeah, I mean, XG considered, look at them. They are top three in the league. That's crazy. Real Valladolid and Valladolid is fighting relegation, and they are the. I mean, what they might be the top five. Yeah, they might be the top five teams that are in top five leagues. That they might be the worst team. Real Valladolid this season, because They have been, I mean, worse than even Premier League relegation team this season. This is the team I think that is owned by that Brazilian Ronaldo.
Yeah, yeah, I do think he owns this team. But I
Yeah,
guess my point is, you all the underlying numbers say that Madrid defensively are poor, and they can get away with it because obviously, like they have brilliant individuals offensively, and again, like I said, teams are not going to are not going to attack Madrid as much as say a Barcelona or even the teams in the Champions League. Well, for obvious reasons, they're not as good, but there's always going to come those pivotal games where these mistakes are going to catch up with you. And today is just one of those days. And I do think what this means for the title race is that you guys are in pole position now, right? Like you guys
yeah.
obviously, if you guys beat Batiste, who to be fair to Batiste are in really great form as
I
well. I think
think, yeah,
I
I
think
mean, they
I
are
heard that
the, yeah, I
I heard
mean,
that I heard
they
that
might be
Batiste.
the, yeah,
Yeah, I heard that
second
Batiste is
best
like
team in La Liga on form, I think.
yeah, like I heard that sits like if the league had started in like February or something, they'd be like second or some crap like that. So clearly they're
Yeah,
coming into the league in great form themselves. But if you guys are able to get through them, right, like you're putting
yeah, I
yourselves
mean,
6 points ahead again.
they,
You're
I
saving the
mean,
match.
Betis has a, yeah, I think Betis has a great attack, to be honest. I think, but I think they have, update from Barcelona on the left wing. They had that. I think MLS top scorer last season. I don't remember his name. They have him as a striker, and they
Yeah,
have Anthony
I
as a
remember, as
right
far as
winger.
I think he's sort of like he's like some Colombian striker, right?
Yeah, Colombia. Cucho Hernandez, I think. Yeah. Also, I think Isco is suspended for this game, so I don't know who will create for them their attack from the midfield. So I think that will be beneficial for Barca specifically because Isco has been in great form. I think even more than Anthony. I think Isco has been their best player this season. So let's see.
You look here, right? Looking at their last couple of matches. They beat Sevilla last week, 3 goals against Leganes, 4 goals in the Conference
Yeah,
League. So they haven't lost since mid-February, and they haven't lost in the league
yeah.
since early February. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
they are
mean, look
looking.
at the goals, amount of goals they are scoring. 3 goals against Real Sociedad, 3 goals. 2 goals against Real Madrid, 3 goals. In they are scoring goals. I think they will score goals in this match too against Barcelona. They might score 1 goals. They might score 2 goals. It just if I think Barcelona if they take their chances they will win the match. But it all depends on if they take their chances or not because Barcelona is the chance creating machine, but they have to take them in order to win the game. So let's say I think if we win today, I think we are in a pole position to win the league then because even if Real Madrid beat Barca in the Clasico, I think, but still I am not that confident in that we will single-handedly win the league because the look if you look at the fixtures of Barcelona at the end of the season in La
Yeah,
Liga are
yeah, no,
very
yeah. I've
difficult.
heard. Yeah, your end of
Yeah,
season fixtures are
yeah, we
incredibly
have
difficult.
like we have Villarreal, we have Athletic Bilbao, and we have Real Madrid. So these three games alone are very difficult if you think about it because Atletico Bilbao is fighting for Europe, Villarreal is also fighting for the fifth spot, and Real Madrid is also fighting for their pride if their season goes sideways that time.
Hmm. I mean,
Yeah,
no,
I
this is
think
definitely.
Real. Yeah, look at this Villarreal. I think Athletic Club. I think Espanyol. I think we will win, even though it is like a local derby. I think Real Valladolid. I think we will win. It's just that Real Madrid, Villarreal, and Athletic Club. All of these clubs are fighting for something in these competitions. They will be difficult game. Also, we will have a Copa del Rey final in between that also. I mean, it
Yeah, I
is a
mean, yeah,
crazy schedule, man.
that'll definitely be a big match. If you're Madrid, you definitely have to take the Copa del Rey seriously. They need to one
Yeah,
get that first win against you guys, considering that they haven't done that yet this season. And then on top of that, probably help them with their momentum. Get Mbappe his first trophy as a Madridista as well. So they have an important reason to want to
yeah,
really try for that game as
yeah.
well.
Yeah, Mbappe has been better, in the second half of the season. But if they win, maybe Copa del Rey or just one trophy this season, it would really look bad. As optics, we as a optic,
Yeah,
and
I agree.
people won't blame him directly, but it still looks bad on him also, because last season they won multiple trophies, but when he joins, he is the one performing, but other team, if you look at the team, they are not performing as well as they performed last season, because last season Vinny was performing, Jude was performing, Rodrigo was chipping in, Valverde was good, all the players were performing,
Yeah, I definitely think if you're looking at the Madrid players, I would probably say Valverde and Jude are probably been the only two that I think have been just about as good as they were last season in terms of the consistency of their performances.
Yeah, I would say Valverde has been the only consistent players from Real Madrid from start of the season till now. I think Jude was pretty average at the start of the season in the first of the half of the season, even though he was getting goals and assists this, here and
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I'll
And
probably
I
say yeah. I
think
would say
Mbappe,
Jude,
yeah,
Jude
yeah.
became better
Also, I
around.
think Mbappe was, Mbappe was trash in the first half of the season, but he is doing better now, just like Jude.
Yeah, I think I would say yeah. I'd say Jude probably got better around the second half of the Champions League.
Yeah,
He
I also
became
think he was tired, tired because of all the intensity from the last season. So I don't really blame Jude for that.
well. I think it was also just a matter of because with Mbappe and Vinny being in the team, he kind of had to figure out how to kind of manage their
Yeah, that
off
too.
ball. They were not going to obviously press as high, so it was just kind of a matter of figuring out what positions he could still take up and stuff. But I do definitely think yeah, I did think him and especially Mbappe. I think Mbappe has probably been good since the that El Clasico that you guys beat them 4-0 with the when he had like the 8 offsides
Yeah,
or whatever. So I think that was probably for him. That was probably the turning point of the season for him.
yeah, yeah. I think Mbappe has been great. I think at least in the second half of the season. But if I am being honest, of course, Vinny will get the blame and Ancelotti will get slated, but there will be many Real Madrid fans that will also blame Mbappe, even though he's performing.
Well, this people can be irrational, so they'll just find the
Yeah,
easiest target they can think of. I will say this too, though, in terms of someone that's probably not gonna get that much blame, but it's definitely someone that's disappointed me. Is and I know that I'll say probably it's been Rudiger this year, and I know part of that's just been because of his injury, but I don't know. I feel like
yeah,
he's lost a step in terms of his
yeah.
ability
You
to recover.
you also you can't really also blame Rudiger for Rudiger, just like you can't blame Ancelotti, because it is very hard, to play with the center back, partner who is changing constantly. Sometimes he's playing with Chouamini, sometimes I don't know. Sometimes he's playing with different center back like Asensio. Let's be honest, Asensio doesn't even have a single game experience in Europe, even though he did better than anything expected from him. But it is very difficult for Rudiger to adjust with keep changing his center back partnership.
No, yeah, no, and
So
I definitely
yeah,
do see what.
it's same thing. Yeah, it is same thing like thing as Valverde has in the midfield, because he has to cover for everyone. Same thing Rudiger has to do in defense. He has to cover for everyone because Lucas Vazquez pushes forward, and he has to cover for Asensio's mistakes also because he is very young guy.
Yeah, and I also do think because I've heard of the links of Madrid possibly getting Zubimendi. I do think he'll probably be a big help to that midfield if he comes, just because they'll be able to control games better, and it won't lead to having to put as much strain on that defense and the attack as well. Because I do think that's also been compounding the issue as well. It's just how much games have turned into back and forth, quote unquote basketball matches in a sense, because there's just so
Yeah,
much going on in terms of energy you have to expend. So I definitely would say that as well. But I do think shifting gears a little bit because we've talked about Madrid for a while now. Obviously, we've talked about Barcelona a bit. What are your thoughts on Atletico and just how their entire season came crashing down in the span of like 10 days.
I am in terms of Atletico. I am in duality mode because sometimes I feel bad for Simeone, and sometimes I feel like sometimes I don't really feel bad for him also because everyone knows that you I give credit to him because in that second leg against Real Madrid in Champions League he defended a 1-0 lead for entirety of the game, for like almost 90 to 120 minutes, and he lost on penalties. That too, it was unlucky.
Hmm.
And even though people tries to blame him for his philosophy of defending and all this against big, specifically against big teams, but you have to give credit to him because he scored one goal in early seconds of the game, and he defended it for like 120 minutes of the game. It is not easy, that too against Real Madrid. So even though people like to criticize his philosophy, he has won that game and he lost on penalty. So in that case, I feel bad for him. But the general philosophy he has, he has that against every big team, he just tries to score one goal and then tries to sit back.
Well, I'll
In
say
this,
this.
if
I'll say this
yeah,
about I'll say this about Atletico,
if
and I
you
do think
follow, yeah, I was just saying that if you if you follow this kind of philosophy, there is always going to be a chance that you will either draw or lose the game at the end of the time.
oh no, what I wasn't even really about. I think honestly, I think where Atletico have really gone wrong this year, and I do, and it's been just their inability to how do I put this? Either like start games well or end games well. And I'm
Also,
not going with
if you
that.
watch the yeah, also if you watch the first half of the La Liga, Atletico were winning games in like 90 plus minutes.
That's what I'm
They
saying.
won,
It
yeah,
was
they
all
won like yeah,
like their
then they
substitutes
won
were
like,
coming in
yeah,
and they
they
were up.
won like, yeah, they were won like 10 plus game in like after 90th minute of and 90th minute of the match.
But I guess
So
what I'm
it's
trying to
same
well,
like
I guess
Madrid,
what I'm trying to go
things
out
are
with that.
catching up to them.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to go with that is that it's all well and good, right? When you can save games, you can turn draws into wins, turn losses into draws. That's fine and well. But at some point, you have to be able to start games well and finish teams earlier, right? And I think Atletico's issue is that they haven't found that formula to do that yet. Obviously, Alvarez had kind of came into form a little bit, coming starting in like late January, coming into March, and unfortunately for Atletico, his form, becoming better, kind of coincided with the likes of Griezmann, Sorloth, their wide players just kind of falling off a little bit as well. So they haven't really had the quality in that respect to really continue this title challenge. I would also say if you're Atletico, you kind of just look at the last couple of weeks. There's been too many games where, and they've just thrown it away in a couple minutes, right? You think about the game against Barcelona, where in the first leg of the Copa del Rey, up 2-0 with in the first like 10 minutes, and you concede what, two corners? You concede off of two corners the same exact way to go into the halftime 2-2. Unacceptable. That's not something you would expect from Simeone, right? You think about when they played you
It's
guys
just
in the
that
league.
yeah, I
No, because
think they defend.
I would even
Yeah,
keep going. They played you guys in the league up 2-0 with
yeah.
20 minutes left in the game. You concede 4 goals. You play Getafe, right? I think they were up off of a penalty, and then I know they got the red card, but then they concede 2 goals in like stoppage time, end up losing the game. So you keep doing this, and of course you're going to find yourselves in a bad situation. So I think for them that's been the biggest problems for them is just in the beginning they couldn't put teams away, and then now recently they just keep throwing games away in a couple minutes of madness. So
Yeah, I think also Atletico also have the same problem as Real Madrid. I think they lack. I think they defend well as a team. 10 men behind the ball. I think they defend well, but the quality of their individual defenders is not up to the level of Atletico Madrid because Jimenez,
I
I
agree.
think from Uruguay, he is a great defender, but Lenglet is not. And Lenormand has been injured most of the season because of his head injury.
Oh,
So
and
they
those
need a good defender, you know.
oh yeah, and their fullbacks. I don't like their fullbacks. Whether it's Aspie or Galan.
I think
Like
Lino
every
is
time
good. I
every
think,
time I watch Atletico, like they just seem so
yeah,
vulnerable coming from that. If pretty much if your team has a decent to good winger and they come up
I
one v
think
one
they
against,
have two, yeah, two decent fullbacks. I think Molina and Lino are good, but Azpilicueta is old, and Xavi Galan will give you something in attack, but he will get cooked defensively.
I agree. So yeah, I would say that's been the main thing for
Also, you know, also
yeah.
I wanted to say one thing, you know, that it doesn't matter what amount of talent you have, it doesn't matter what is your philosophy, but the performances that you put out week in week out, at the end of the season it will end up catching up to you. The same thing is, I think, happening with Real Madrid, and same thing I think is happening with Atletico, because they both were, Real Madrid were just winging the result because they were just doing it somehow, and Atletico Madrid were also, you know, winning in 90 plus minute. I think Barcelona were the only team in La Liga, and Athletic Bilbao. These are the two teams in La Liga that are FIFA performing week in week out consistently. I think Villarreal and Betis has been decent in second half of the season, but consistently speaking, Barcelona and Athletic Bilbao are performing, you know, week in week out rather than Atletico and Real Madrid.
No, I agree. I agree. That and I do agree. Like if you keep getting these inconsistent performances, eventually you're gonna have those bad days where you can't bail yourself out, and then it's going to cost you in the long run. So and then moving on, I don't know if you have any thoughts. Just moving on from La Liga a bit, how do you feel about just talking about the other teams in the Champions League? How do you feel about Bayern and Inter? If I don't know if you've caught any Bayern or Inter recently.
And yeah, my only problem with this game is, you know, I was so excited for this game, but the injuries on, you know, both of the teams, especially Bayern. Now, I think Musiala also got injured yesterday, I think,
Yeah,
with a
yeah.
hamstring injury.
So I think
So I
right
was
now
so
for if
excited, you know, to see multiple battles on the pitch. But again, I think, oh, did Upamecano also get injured? I think Bayern is missing one center back also.
yeah, I have their list here. So Upamecano and Ito
And
are out
Pavlovic,
for the
even
season.
Pavlovic is injured in the midfield, man.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I do
Yeah.
definitely think the injuries is definitely gonna suck for them, and it's even worse
Where
because Ito and
where
Upamecano are
where
are
is the,
literally
yeah,
their
where
best
is
center back.
where is the first line?
I think the first leg is in Germany.
And without Musiala, I think, who do you think will play in place of Musiala? I think, who do you think will play?
Um, I
They
mean,
don't really have a
possibly.
backup for him, you know.
I don't think they do. I mean,
Exactly. I mean,
let me even check their squad. I don't think they do. But if anything, I would think what might be the best move is maybe see if you could try putting Olise, see if Olise can work as a false 10. Because I think Olise has in those like inside like
yeah,
forward positions for Crystal Palace before. And
he can
because
definitely.
but I think that's their best option. Or
Yeah,
either that or I don't know, run Harry Kane false nine and just have a bunch of runners that he can try to spray passes off to. But even then,
yeah,
their
Konan
wingers
and Gnabry
are
on the
terrible
wing.
finishers. So
Yeah, that's the problem with playing, you know, Harry Kane in the midfield, you know, or as a false nine or something, because he also need to be finishing. He need to create for wingers, and he will also need to finish because Gnabry and Sane are not finishing their chances most of the time.
yeah, no, like I remember I was catching the highlights from the Bayern game yesterday, and even though Sonny ended up scoring, he had like a chance before he scored that he was 1v1 with the goalkeeper, and he had all the time in the world, and he just shot it straight at the goalkeeper's shoulder. So
Do
it's those
Inter
like
have any
split second.
players injured?
Hmm?
Do you think do you think Inter have any players injured or something?
Hold on, let me check.
I don't know about their injury situation.
Um,
If they
so
if
they
they
have
don't have any
so I guess the only real major player they have out is Dumfries.
Dumfries, yeah, I think Inter might be the favorites here because of the injuries.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that as well. Um,
Yeah, even though first leg is in Bayern, I still think Inter might be favorite for both legs now because the injuries will really cost Bayern, and also Vincent Kompany's inexperienced coach, specifically in Europe, and Inzaghi has been to UCL final. Let's be honest, he is very experienced and he is very good tactician. So I might say I think Inter will go in this leg specifically.
I mean, I will definitely say company I think has improved coaching wise
Yeah.
throughout the season. However, yeah, I just think especially with the center backs being out, Eric Dyer and Kim Min Jae,
Oh
they're not
man,
good enough to be playing
even
the
even
quarterfinal of the
Alfonso
Champions
Davis got
League. So
injured with ACL. Even Alfonso Davis and Musiala and their center back is out. Just think about it.
yeah, so yeah, I definitely agree.
That's
Bayern
crazy,
are
man.
gonna have a hard time trying to um I'm gonna have a hard time trying to beat on Inter in this tie. But okay, let's. I'm probably
Yeah,
gonna end this
I
stream.
just think Thomas Miller should run it back for last time now.
I agree. But I want to thank you for coming on. I'm gonna end this stream here right now. I might
Yeah,
do another
bye.
one at some point today, but I'm not particularly sure yet. But thanks for coming on, so I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah,
Um,
bye. Thank you. I enjoyed it.
and I don't know if you're subscribed to the channel because I definitely try to do these as much as I can when I have time.
No, no,
But
I wasn't. I didn't. I knew you from the panel. I have seen you multiple times, but I didn't know you had a channel. I will subscribe to it now.
yeah. I try to do live streams like this. I'll usually try to do videos as well. I kind of just do them when I have time because of school and stuff. But yeah, I'm always excited when I get new people to come up here. So again, I want to thank you for doing that.
What is the name of the channel? Is it SKFC only?
Yeah, I'll put it in because for some reason YouTube has like a hard time like putting my channel in when you search it. So I'll put the link in the private chat.
Yeah, it's algorithm thing probably.
All right, do you see it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yep. So yeah, I'm gonna end the stream now. But again, thank you
I
again
know
for
I listen to you guys most of the time on HH channel,
yeah.
but I because of the time difference, I am never really in the comment section, and I don't really comments on the most of the videos
Oh yeah,
because
no.
I
I mean
watch them
that's definitely
live.
understandable. Like what time is it for you right now?
For me, it is 11 p.m. in the night.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that is crazy. Like for me, it's right
Yeah,
now. It's only one. Right now, it's
yeah.
only 1 o'clock for me in the afternoon. So
Yeah. Also, now I have to. I am awake till now because I have to watch Barcelona's game against Real Betis. That will be for 12:30 a.m. in the night for me.
I don't know how you guys. I don't know how you guys do it, man. You guys are crazy out there.
Yeah, it's it's just time difference.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for the opportunity. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate talking to you too as well. So thank you for coming on as well. You're more than welcome to come on next time I do this.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.